Hello, and welcome to Little Live Story, the podcast where we take an anime and turn it into a movie.
And a movie and turn it into an anime.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Jared.
And before we get to brass tacks, I just need to do a little bit of housekeeping. In case you somehow missed our pilot episode, follow us on SoundCloud at Little Live Story. And if you want to keep up with our social media posts, follow me, that's Eric, at FSD Productions, that's letters FSD Productions on Twitter. Jared is at JShontow, JCHONTOW, and Little Live Story is at Jared Eric 1. That's Jared N, the letter N, Eric 1 on Twitter.
All right, that's enough plugging. You ready to get started?
Yeah, why not?
All right, here's your challenge. Squid Girl.
Run it by me again.
All right, for you and those who may not know, Squid Girl is an anime about this squid girl who comes from the bottom of the ocean. She is very innocent, very cutesy, and really dumb. And she's trying to invade humanity to take it over to basically clean up the oceans, like Captain Planet kind of style. But she's really ineffectual.
Captain Planet, known for his terrorism.
Anyway, she's trying to clean up the oceans and ends up working at a beachside shack for the duration of the show.
And that's pretty much it, right?
That's basically.
Yeah. Okay, I know exactly what I'm doing.
Okay, good luck.
Okay, the first change right off the bat, this is not Squid Girl. This is the Squid Girl.
I don't see how the word "the" changes anything.
It changes the whole tone, promise.
Okay.
Okay, this whole thing is going to be really emotional. Lots of soft piano music, lots of deep focus. You'll see what I'm getting at very quickly.
Okay.
Okay, so we open super tight on a child playing with a toy squid in the ocean. It's really happy. It's really emotional. We see them with what we assume is their father, and they're just frolicking in the ocean. We don't get many details, but it's very emotional, very pretty. Then we match cut to the that same squid toy being put away into a box. This is our lead. If she was 4 in that flashback at the beginning, she's 14 now.
Wait, she's like a human girl?
Yeah. I mean, the anime doesn't follow Squid Girl.
No, I guess that's fair. I was just under the assumption this is Squid Girl, and I was confused. So just go ahead.
Yeah, okay, I will. So our lead packs up this toy after this match cut, and then we zoom out to see an empty bedroom. She's moving. Her family is moving.
Okay.
And then we basically see a quick bit of her and her older sister moving from one apartment on the beach side to their new home, which is the second floor apartment above a restaurant on the pier.
Okay. All right.
So they move into their new apartment, they unpack boxes, and we meet our tertiary character who's our lead's friend, this kind of quirky, smart alecky boy who she's friends with. And they unpack, we get a bit of their dynamic. Basically, our lead is spunky, emotionally confused 14-year-old girl, and her sister is her new guardian. Something happened to their parents, and her 21, 22-year-old sister, who isn't ready to take care of, a child, has to take care of a child. So there's this kind of Lilo and Stitchy sister relationship going on.
Just for curiosity, how long has the movie been going by this point?
5 minutes, 10.
Oh, okay. I was curious, like, how long we'd be going without Squid Girl, because there's still no Squid Girl.
Still no Squid World.
Yeah, all right, no, that's fine. Go ahead.
I said Squid World. That's the new movie. Now, fuck everything I've said.
Yeah,
Squid World.
All right, we're doing it. It's like Disney World, except it's squids.
No, it's like Jurassic World, but
oh
with
my god,
squids.
even better.
So after this, we get a brief scene the next day or sometime soon after of them unpacking stuff at the restaurant. They're preparing for the grand opening because they run the restaurant.
Yeah.
They're unpacking chairs and cookery and blah, blah, blah. And our lead gets into a bit of a row with her sister. She's unpacking a heavy box and she drops it and she gets frustrated with herself. So she lashes out, does one of those, "Why do I have to do this? This is so hard." And then the sister kind of snaps back with "Because I have to take care of you now." And, we have kind of an emotional break.
Okay.
Our lead basically says, "The hell with this," books it out the door, runs away to be sad on her own. Mm-hmm. So she finds some secluded pier, pitches her legs off the side into the water, kicks them around, tear rolls off her cheek into the water. Squid Girl.
Wait, the title?
No.
wait,
the girl. Squid Girl rises up from the water, noticing the tear and the crying, sad 14-year-old girl above her, pokes her head out.
What the fuck? Is she like the fairy godmother from Shrek? Like summoned by a tear on her goddamn business card?
I like how it was the fairy godmother from Shrek, not from any of the things Shrek was parodying.
Yeah, no, it was specifically from Shrek.
Okay, well, no. She pops up and there's a moment of tension, I'll say, but it gives way really quickly to just childlike wonderment of, holy crap, like, who are you? And they have a brief conversation. Oh, I'm Squid Girl, blah, blah, blah. And then, she doesn't seem to know much. She's still kind of myopic and but not nearly as dumb as in the anime. Because in the anime, she is dumb as the paint on the walls.
I mean, you're not totally wrong.
No. But so she's confused and doesn't really know anything. She doesn't even know what crying is, and the girl has to explain it. So she basically introduces herself. They have a brief back and forth, and then she realizes it's getting late. All right, sorry, bye, Squid Girl. I gotta go, but I'll come back tomorrow and see you. Squid Girl, smiles vapidly, and our lead ends up back at her new place. Her sister's asleep on the couch already, so she can't clear the air now, but she, just goes to bed. Mm-hmm. Next morning, she wakes up. Squid Girl's in her room.
Oh, okay.
She has a moment of, shrieking, just, what are you doing here? And Squid Girl is like, oh, you said tomorrow. She's like, I didn't mean in my bed. I meant at the pier, but okay, hi. And then the sister walks in, noticing the, ruckus upstairs, and is just like, oh, hi. She doesn't quite grasp how weird Squid Girl is yet, but she's, new friend of, the lead. Cool. Sure. Hi. Good morning. Wake up, sister. Today is opening day at the restaurant. Hustle, get your ass in gear.
So wait, just like in the anime, is it just them running the restaurant?
For now, yes. Like it's a very small restaurant. It's like 20 seats,
Mm-hmm. So it's basically
people.
like the beachside shack that they run in the anime. Just it's a little bit more professional.
More or less.
Okay.
So, we see the opening day. It's, booming. There's tons of customers, and the sister invites Squid Girl and our lead's male friend to help out. So, she has a little bit more aid in the ruckus. And they're all running around doing restaurant shenanigans. It's really, really busy. And the customers start to notice how weird Squid Girl is. Like, she has fucking head tentacles, and she's doing a little bit of
carrying plates
with them and doing other such slightly weird things. Not like ridiculous, but just she's a bit eye-catching. Mm-hmm. And people start like walking in, telling each other. We get a bit of back and forth of more customers coming to the restaurant because of this.
So she's like a draw as like a mascot kind of thing.
Already, yes.
Okay.
And people are like tipping really well, or they're like giving her extra money and blah, blah, blah. Basically, opening day is a rousing success thanks in large part to Squid Girl. And the next scene is the aftermath. It's after they've closed up the shutters and all of our chief characters, like the boy, the lead, and her sister, are quizzing Squid Girl. They're asking her a bunch of questions. Where do you come from? What's this? What's that? How are the tentacles? What's the ink? Blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And she's answering in vagaries because she has no idea herself. She's just kind of there. She just exists. So she's answering to the best of her ability, but...
Which brings us to a really important question.
What?
How amazing are her puns? It bears mentioning that the anime is so laced with puns, you cannot go 10 seconds without a pun basically being mentioned. In English, the puns
are excised.
Oh.
No puns, I promise. We'll use the puns in the marketing.
Okay.
The freaking tagline will be something really stupid like...
Prepare yourself for the squidvasion.
No, because we're not doing...
Or the inkvasion.
No, that makes even less sense. And there's no invasion, ink or otherwise.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, go ahead.
We have cute character development-y stuff. And Squid Girl, takes off, says, tomorrow I'll show you guys where I came from. And they're like, cool. So, see you tomorrow, Squid Girl. And then on that next day, Squid Girl leads them back to the pier where she met our lead. There's a moment of confusion. They're like, wait, this is where you came from? She's like, yeah, the first thing I remember is right down there in the water.
Fuck, she was spawned by the tear.
not quite as contrived as that. It's more like we saw the tear from her perspective.
No, I'm just making the joke.
If someone wanted to argue it, I guess. But it's a little bit cute and a little bit sad. After that, we get a scene of our lead and Squid Girl having a talk about our lead's parents who tragically died, and Squid Girl doesn't even know what parents are, so she has to have that explained to her, but she knows what other squids are. She's never met them, but she knows what other squids are and talks about being a little bit lonely, and they just kind of have a cute shared moment of loneliness and either lost or having not ever had it, that kind of thing. It's very, very sweet, very cute, very together. Mm-hmm. Then we jump a little bit ahead, and the restaurant's doing okay, and the sister insists to our lead that she invite Squid Girl back to work, or at least to just hang out at the restaurant during business hours. The lead says, sure, she's my friend. Why not? I will. And we get a brief half montage of Squid Girl occasionally working, mostly just being there, but acting as a draw for the restaurant, even to the point where our sister prints up flyers and hangs them around the pier and the nearby areas. She draws up like little Squid Girly mascots on the menus. She's low key, like one notch into exploitative territory, using Squid Girl to draw money. Mm-hmm. And this starts to bother our lead. So after this montage ends, she, sends Squid Girl home for the day, like, bye, see you tomorrow, and has a confrontation with her sister about it. She comes at her with something akin to, oh, you're using my friend. You don't even like her. You're just using her for the freaking restaurant. And, the sister comes at her with, she's we need this. Don't come at me like this, blah, blah, blah. And then, they have this whole angry back and forth. And then they realize Squid Girl did not leave. Squid Girl is just standing in the door watching. And there's that kind of heartbreaking moment of, oh, she heard all this. Oops. Our lead runs over to do damage control. She says something like, oh, Squid Girl, she didn't mean it. Like, she's not using you. I'm sorry. I'm just angry. And then the sister, doing her own bit of damage control, runs over and says something akin to like, oh, Squid Girl, it's not because anything bad. It's because you're not like anyone else. And Squid Girl takes this entirely the wrong way.
Obviously.
Big, cute puppy dog eyes, heart breaks because she already felt alone. This just ossifies it. She just feels awful because she's not like anyone else, which she, confirms by looking around and seeing no one else with fucking tentacles on their head. Yeah. So she runs off. And then we get our whole end of the second act, sad music, everything's sad, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And then we get another succession of quick scenes of just life without Squid Girl. We see our sister living with a guilt in the restaurant doing okay still without Squid Girl. Mm-hmm. We see our lead going around wishing she was. Like, she unpacks all of her stuff from the boxes and comes across the squid toy and has a moment of aw. So we have all this kind of sad, and then we come to our climax, where basically our lead comes to the conclusion that they need to make it up to Squid Girl. So we don't see what they're doing, but they're going full craft fair and running around to different stores, doing this, doing that, and they meet at the dock. We don't see them fully. We're low on the feet or something. And then, they call out to Squid Girl, and she pops her head out of the water and looks up. Zoom in and see all three of our characters wearing fake squid gear on their head.
You took the thing from the first episode.
Yeah, they, made fake tentacles with, pipe cleaners or hoses or, something.
Yeah.
Tubing. And she, oh my God, more squids. I love you guys. No, except she's not stupid enough to actually think they're squids.
Oh, okay.
But so it's a really just adorable moment of togetherness. Like, we get a cute montage of them running around playing. Like, they have, water balloons with like black colored water that's ink, and they're playing around, and it's super adorable. And by the time it's over, our lead and Squid Girl are sat on the dock where they met.
Okay.
The other two have fucked off of some kind. They're either away or they're cleaning up the mess they made on the beach or something. Mm-hmm. So our lead and Squid Girl have a brief conversation wherein Squid Girl says something like, oh, this is really cinched it for me. I want to go find my squids. Like, I want to go find other squids and go be friends with people like me. It's like, not that I don't love you guys, but there's people like me out there and I want to go see them. Mm-hmm. Our lead fully gives her a blessing, like, yes, that's great for you. Come back someday, if you want to, but I think you should. Belonging is important, cute message sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And Squid Girl kisses her. We have this moment where the camera 360s around the two of them, and our lead's eyes kind of flutter open in a whoa motion. Then Squid Girl dives into the water, swims away. Credits over ocean sunset. And this whole thing is this big, cute rumination on loss and belonging and feeling yourself and all this cute stuff. directed by Brad Bird. Or maybe J.J. Abrams if we make it more like Super 8 than Star Wars. Music by Michael Giacchino.
Sure.
Oh, and either the softest PG-13 of all time or a PG rating. Very, very cute.
Okay. Whew. Wow. I mean, its core was definitely Squid Girl.
Yeah. Except it's not entirely vapid.
I guess there's a couple of things I need to know. First of all, so the main female and the male friend is not her brother, right?
No.
Okay. Is he like a potential love interest? Are Squid
No.
Girl and the main character another potential love interest?
Yeah, it's softly.
Okay, all right. Because that's what I thought that you were setting up the guy romance thing, and then you just suddenly flipped it on its head, and that kiss came out of nowhere for me. Mm-hmm. An important thing to other people, basically mean nothing to me. I'm not good with actors, but who's playing our leads?
I've thought about this a bit. I honestly don't know.
Okay.
I just know I want Squid Girl to be an unknown.
All right.
Like some, up-and-coming actress, but I have nothing in mind. I just know instead of Japan, it's California.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I assumed you weren't going to keep it in Japan.
No, I mean never, but yeah, it's California.
One day you will.
Maybe.
Okay, that was definitely different. I kind of like it. It kept the same themes.
It's cute.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
As ready as I can be.
Alrighty. So for today, your challenge: make an anime out of Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch.
Yes.
Give me a refresher.
All right. The vague plot of Sucker Punch is that a woman who we only know as Baby Doll accidentally kills her sister when trying to escape from her basically evil, overbearing, possibly pedophilic uncle, and ends up thrown into a corrupt, fucked up, insane asylum, wherein we get a series of trippy dance/action sequences set to music where her and the other inmates find the strength to escape. And it's really cool and artsy and just out there.
All right. We begin in a dimly lit, broken down car. And I'm not talking broken down as in like the engine doesn't work. I'm talking like it was in a car crash. Like the ceiling's caved in, the right side of the vehicle is completely bent in with shards of metal, and there's two bodies in the front and there's a body to the right, and there's sirens, and there's just everything is just basically fucked. And this is also from a first person perspective. So we actually see the main character blink a couple times, look around, viewing her situation, and kind of freaking out. We have no idea what's going on. She has no idea what's going on. She begins crying and crying to herself, whatever. But also through her crying begins humming a small tune. It's kind of quiet. It's kind of obscured behind the crying, but she is humming. We hear some shouts coming from outside, like hey, oh my God, are you okay? Yada, yada, yada. It's mostly drowned out by the crying and the humming and whatnot, but we do hear other people. We hear a siren getting closer, and we cut. But the humming doesn't stop. The humming continues as the scene now changes to the main character walking down the street, basically enjoying her day. She's looking.
That's called an L cut.
An L cut?
If the music carries over into the next scene diegetically, that's called an L cut.
Huh.
Whereas a J cut is when the music from the next scene bleeds in before the cut.
Huh.
So now you know.
Oh, yeah, no more you know. Anyway, so she's humming to herself the same song as she's basically skipping down the road. She's doing happy girl things, looking at cats on the stone fences separating houses between the street and whatnot.
So since we usually change the name for the sake of the adaptation, is she still Baby Doll? Like, are the characters still going to have weird monikers, or does she have a Japanese actual name?
Her name doesn't get mentioned throughout the entire anime.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah.
All right, go on.
The other characters' names they'll probably have more regular names, but she herself never actually will have her name stated.
Okay.
Anyway, so she goes about her day. We see her go to school, talk to friends, do all normal anime girl stuff, like just a normal day. She goes home and her parents basically happily greet her, and then they're like, hey, we got a surprise for you today. We're going out to eat. And
wow, I never get food.
Well, I mean, fuck you. Anyway, fine, they're going to amusement park. It doesn't matter. That part doesn't matter.
There's food there.
Just shut up. Anyway, they're going out. Then the car crash occurs. We wrap back around to the moment where she's in the car humming to herself, and and the sirens or whatever. We see a little bit further. We see the door open. There's a policeman, and then she closes her eyes. But once again, the humming doesn't stop.
It's been the whole time?
No. The humming stopped at the once when she was skipping through the town. Like the humming stopped probably like 10, 13 seconds in.
Okay. But the humming picks back up.
The humming is a segue.
Okay, cool.
So now she's humming to herself. It's louder, and she now wakes up strapped to a table in a white room with basically sketchy scientists around her, basically experimenting on her. But she doesn't really fully know what's going on. We're not fully explained to what's going on, but you can infer. It's a white room. It's basically operating table.
Yeah, men in white coats, scary medical equipment, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. They could be saving her life, but it's portrayed as kind of a little sketchy. Anyway, she finishes. She's humming to herself, and the humming then becomes the ending song. Humming is the ending song for the entire series.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
That's a really cool way to integrate the music.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we get to the ending, and that's the end of episode 1.
Naturally.
So episode 2 begins. Basically, she's now done on the operating table. She was thrown into basically another white room with a bed and a sink and whatnot. Basically a jail cell, but not that bad. Like a little bit more of a cushy place. And she's just kind of sitting herself in the corner, and she's like basically rocking herself back and forth. And then she hears from basically the other side of the wall, basically like someone say, "Hey, are you new here?" And she's like, "Yeah." And they have basically a short back and forth, and she gets to basically know this person, and she basically made a friend.
All right, this will be our Rocket for the day.
Yeah.
I think that was the secondary side character, the Jenna Malone's character.
Yes, it's Rocket.
Unless I was wrong about which one's which, but yeah, okay. Her best friend.
Yes, her best friend. So they basically get together, get to know each other a little better, and then she's forcibly removed from the room and brought to another white room. This entire building is basically very white, and it's a bit of a theme, but it's not super important. Anyway, she's brought to yet another white room with white tiles and told to quote unquote perform. She doesn't know what that means, and they don't explain it to her. They close the door. She just looks around like, what is she supposed to do?
Okay, question.
Yes.
Is there a Madame Gorski equivalent? That's the lady who was actually protecting them from the fucked up people in the place? The woman who was teaching them to dance?
Yes, there is a female quote-unquote head scientist.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's meaner.
Yeah, okay. But she's not as protective.
Okay.
She's not the meanest one here.
She's just less awful than some of them.
Yes, like she's definitely like overseeing some of the things.
Okay, just had to ask.
Yeah. And so she's told to quote unquote perform. She looks around and does nothing. Then from the intercom, they're like you have to show us the results of the tests. And she's like, I don't understand what's going on here. What do you want from me? I want out. Like, get me out. And then a collar that she had been wearing since the beginning shocks her. She's basically brought right to the ground. She starts crying and then shocks again. Like they're like having none of it. Then so she's still crying even though they're shocking her. And then she starts basically singing to herself a song. We get a flashback to her when she was a child, like a really young, we're talking like toddler, and she like scraped her knee on the playground or something, and her mother basically comes over to her and starts singing her this song, and her mother's basically does a couple seconds of singing the song and then says to her, listen, insert the anime version of the character's name here, which is actually blurred out. Because
nice. It's like Kill Bill. There's like a beep, or we just don't hear it.
Yeah, like listen. Whenever you are hurt or sad or scared, just sing yourself a little song and it'll always help perk you up. So we now cut back to present day, and she is like singing to her song. And as she's singing, she's actually slowly stopping crying and slowly standing up. And then like her eyes suddenly open and we cut. We are now in the dojo that we were in the movie.
Nice.
Yeah, but we're skipping a lot of the like explanation stuff. There's just
there's no like Scott Glenn there to be the sensei and hand her the sword and explain shit.
Well, not yet anyway. But there's basically the three enemies already in front of her. The three giant statue samurai are already in front of her.
Dope.
She obviously has no fucking idea what's going on, and basically just dodges and weaves all the way through these guys, basically destroying the environment around her.
Other question for Sile.
Go ahead.
Did her outfit change like in the movie? Like, is she in meat space, in the hospital get up, and then in this fantasy space wearing, a mini skirt or battle armor or something?
So the short answer to your question is no. She's still wearing the hospital gown.
Okay.
But going forward, yes, because she'll by that point understand how to a better control of this world. But because she was sort of dropped in, she's still wearing what she was wearing because that's what she knows.
Right. She doesn't know how to master the fantasy or what have you.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Just had to know just because I'm visualizing.
Yeah, no, got you. Anyway, so she's dodging, weaving, and then she basically rounds a corner and dives into a room. The door just shuts suddenly behind her, and a old, clearly blind man, sitting down in the traditional Japanese style, drinking a cup of tea, welcomes her in. She timidly walks forward, and he says, "No reason to be afraid, my child. I am here to help you. But if you do not accept my help, you will not be able to get out of here alive." He goes into an exposition of basically a really short exposition. Basically, you have the power to defeat the evils that reside in this world. If you ever come to this world, the power exists within yourself to win. But he hands her a sword. You have to find it within yourself, and no amount of teaching can actually give you that power.
Okay, so he basically says, self-reliance, you're good enough already, but get there.
Yes, basically. He's
I need to draw attention to the weird irony that in the movie, the guy who plays the sensei, or I don't remember his name, is Scott Glenn, who also played Stick on Daredevil, where he is blind, and you made him blind in this. There's a 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon's Scott Glenn going on. Just weird irony. Had to mention it.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. Anyway, so she basically spends a minute just basically being like, I don't know what do you mean find the power within myself? What do you mean take this sword? I don't get what's going on. And he's he basically says you can do it. I know you can do it. I believe in you. And the room starts fading away. She's like, wait, no, I can't go back out there. I can't fight the giant sword slash right next to her. Shockwave snaps her out of the don't go. She turns around seeing the 3 giant samurai again. She grabs the sword and timidly pulls it out of its sheath, ready to fight them. The giant samurai gets ready to swing another sword. She timidly holds it up over her head, ready to block it. Sword comes down. Clank. It actually blocks. She spends the next several minutes realizing that these things are a lot easier, or quote unquote easier, to beat than she thought.
In other words, she's just a fucking super badass.
Yes. And
she's discovering the power within.
Exactly. She's picking up speed as she goes. She's gaining more confidence. By the time when she's finally killed the last samurai, we cut back to the White Room. The room has scorch marks. There's destroyed dummies all over the place. And basically the clue, there was basically a battle in here. And we have no idea what happened, but she is now on her knees. She is exhausted. The head researcher woman comes in, basically looks at her clipboard, checks off something, and says, "Congratulations, you did a great job." And she is, this time, not aggressively, but peacefully escorted back to her room.
Okay, so you gave Bethany from Dogma superpowers. You're giving Baby Doll superpowers. There's a theme here.
Well,
No. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
All right, and go on.
Anyway, the next whole chunks of the anime is a lot of her going through meeting people. Now, here's an important thing. This is not an all-girls institution.
Okay.
There are boys. However, because our main character is a young female and she is currently still freaking out and whatever, she's only hanging out with girls. And as we progress throughout the entire anime, the boys are getting less and less. At the beginning, we see a bunch of boys in the cafeteria when they go eat. By the next couple episodes, there's a lot less. And by the end, there are no boys left.
Are the girls getting fewer as well?
Yes, but there are still lots of girls.
Okay.
The amount of boys to girls changes drastically. But it's also not super touched upon. It is talked about.
It's just more subtext than text?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So one day, she does actually begin to notice the fact that people are disappearing. Her main friend group have not disappeared. But she does, a conversation talks about how people are slowly disappearing. And that's when a conversation about the quote-unquote tests getting more difficult. And by this point, through the entire anime, we still have no idea what the main character's powers or abilities or whatever the fuck's going on are.
So it has cut away to Fantasyland every time?
Yes. Every single time it is cut away to a Fantasyland. And every time there's always some sort of room. If it bothers showing us again. It's always some kind of room with a destroyed every everything, and like she's done well somehow.
Do we see the fantasy sequences?
Yes.
Okay.
We do. But
do we retain the ones from the film? I mean, there have to be more, I assume.
Yeah, there are more.
But is there still like the World War I trench style sequence?
So that's what I'm getting to. So this conversation about people disappearing gets everyone nervous, and they don't know what the end goal of all these tests are, but they know that they could start disappearing. So they hatch a plan to escape. This was not given by the sensei. This was the kids themselves coming up with a plan, a way to escape.
Oh yeah, kids. So I assume they're really young.
Well, they're not young. They're high schools.
Yeah, okay.
So anyway.
Not much older than
Yeah. All right, so they basically go through the same exact plan set up as they do in the movie.
Need a key and a knife and fire
and a map.
Awesome.
So it's all the same things, which lead to the same scenarios, which lead to the same dramatizations. Like basically nothing really changes in those scenarios. However, the big thing is.
So wait. That led me to a question.
Go
I was
ahead.
thinking. They do perform together then? Because, a big part in Sucker Punch is them helping each other in the fantasy sequences because they're helping each other in real life. So they are ending up performing together so they're in the fantasies together?
Yes, they are doing it. So in these sequences, we actually get to see the girls that she has become friends with. We've seen their powers. They actually exhibit basically superpowers.
Yeah, figured.
One of them has the ability to manipulate air. Another one has the ability to create fire or like not like fire, more like an explosion, basically.
Okay, so light-ish, like middle tier X-Men stuff.
Yeah, basically.
Cool.
And we're seeing these abilities, but again, we're still not seeing the main character's power. So this is intercut in the fantasy. So we're actually seeing a bit of the real world and the fantasy world.
Oh, so like midway through one of them in the fantasy sequence punching a ghost Nazi, it'll match cut. We'll see her in the White Room shooting a fireball out of her hand.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah, and this is all occurring over the course of like an hour. Like they're gathering all the things not slowly but very, very rapidly. They're doing their escape now
instead of gathering one item a day or what have you.
Yeah, because this is
rapid.
This plan is clearly more overt. It's not subtle, so they don't have as much.
So they're just blitzing people for keys and knives and locks and such.
Basically.
Okay.
Anyway, so we get to the point where they have all the things and they're about to escape. They're at the door and they're about to leave, and that's when they hear a voice from behind them. It's the CEO-like gentleman that has been in charge, has been in shadows this entire time.
Shadowy business fella.
Yeah, the guy that's been in charge, but we have not actually seen. Mm-hmm. And he's basically like, you are not leaving. You are far too valuable specimens for us to let you go. And this is when the main character basically stands up slowly and says, you are going to let them go. And he's like, absolutely not. There's no way you can stop me. And that's when he like bulks up and basically becomes like a roided, basically like the Hulk. Like he just, I'm strong now.
Okay.
And the girls are admittedly kind of terrified. And the main character is still unfazed, standing with basically her arms out, kind of like you're not getting past me kind of thing. She says to the other girls, get out, I will slow him down. They're like, no, you won't be able to stop him. It was like, I can. It was like, but even if you do, you're not. And she basically turns around and she's like, go. They start running, and the one that she met in the cell at the beginning of when she first arrived in this place.
I was mistaken. That was Sweet Pea.
Okay, Sweet.
Rocket is Sweet Pea's sister.
Okay.
I was thinking because I like that actress a lot. But yeah, so Sweet Pea is her best friend for the sake of the adaptation.
Yeah, so the Sweet Pea, it like basically stalls for like 5 extra seconds, and then she basically says, be safe, and then they all run out the door. We now see the main character standing there all aggressively and staring at him with basically daggers in her eyes. We hear thunder from above gathering, and we hear a lightning strike. Lightning comes through the roof, and if you were to pause the anime, you would see for 1 frame the lightning hitting her. And then we cut to a dramatization.
Huh.
The CEO is more monstrous. Like, he's giant. He's like a giant monster, like the size of... He's basically Godzilla kind of thing. Like a giant, super bulky monster. And...
Big allegorical evil.
Yes, exactly. And we see this big final battle between the two. She's still using the sword she had at the beginning, and she's going through and, like, fighting this monster. We don't see the end of the fight. We cut now to outside with the girls basically escaping, running into a rice paddy field and like running and running and running. And they get to a bus stop where they all stop. They're panting and and now they start crying to each other. Basically, they abandon their friend and whatnot. And Sweet Pea turns around looking behind her and she hears humming, the humming from the beginning of the anime. And she smiles herself. We cut back to the facility.
I thought you were about to say the end.
Well, we cut back to the facility. The facility's in shambles. The CEO is basically buried under rubble. A lot of the girls are being escorted out by now police. And the whole, like, the operation is clearly being, like, broken down. Like,
the
obviously.
evil has been defeated.
Basically. We do, however, see the name tag. Which is also, again, blurred out, but clearly the main character's name tag. Because this entire time we've seen her name tag. It's just been blurred out.
Mm-hmm.
It's blurred out and it's sort of like stuck on a rock. And that's where we end it.
Okay.
We don't know whether the main character made it out or not.
Okay, so we're abandoning the interpretiveness of certain aspects of it in favor of a kind of ambiguous ending regarding our lead.
Yes.
Okay.
Like the main character may or may not be alive. She may have sacrificed herself to fight him. She may have escaped, and then that was with the humming they heard. Or Sweet Pea may just be fucking crazy. We don't know. It's very up in the air.
Okay. Yeah. Honestly, in a weird way, that also had a lot of DNA with my Squid Girl thing.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Just similarly dealing, using fantasy to deal with fucked up real life shit.
Yeah.
But no, I honestly like it.
I'm glad.
Yeah, I mean, again, you retained the most important aspects of the movie, which were the over-the-top action being used as an allegory for, real life violence and the music.
Yeah.
Like, honestly...
I made sure the music was super important in this
because it
anime.
obviously was.
Yeah, and I didn't state it during the fact, but every time we do a drama transition, it's always through a musical thing. So
yeah, same as the movie. There's a musical motif that then bleeds into a fantasy
it's
sequence.
exactly the same thing.
Very cool. I mean, again, I sort of gift wrapped this one for you because...
it's basically an anime.
Yeah, Zack Snyder just made a fucking live action anime and you're like, well...
But it must be stated that it actually made it a little bit harder for me because then I had to adapt something that's already an anime into an anime.
You couldn't just jump to easy anime places.
Yeah, exactly. I had to put a little more effort into it.
Didn't you say you had like 2 ideas though?
Okay, so here's the thing. When I was coming up with how best to adapt this, I came up with a radically different idea from the one I just presented to you.
Which was?
I'm going to give you the short of it because I don't want to spend another 20 minutes.
Obviously.
The car crash occurs as it would, except the main character wasn't there. She only hears about it. Her family dies. She gets brought over to her uncle's house, and her uncle is basically the same kind of bad uncle, except that instead of him sending to her insane asylum, she lives with him every day. And she's basically bullied at home by him, raped and whatever.
And uses the fantasy as escapism.
But she also goes to school and is bullied at school because now she's working in a new school and she's like gloomy all the time because her family just died and they pick on her. And she's basically slowly like losing her mind because she has no safe place.
Okay, so...
and she's going to dramas more and more and more.
It was more psychological parable rather than the action thing.
And the reason I opted not to this is because I didn't like the ending and because there was only one ending I could really feel comfortable with.
She goes nuts and kills her uncle?
She kills herself.
Yeah, that tracks.
She jumps off the roof of the school building and kills herself.
I think I like that more.
Well, I know.
But no, I like I said, I genuinely like what you did. So,
yeah, I'm glad.
Top marks. Okay, there you have it. Squid Girl and then Sucker Punch. Anything else?
As far as I can think of.
Okay, so I'm Eric.
I'm Jared.
And thank you for listening to our little